look at Iceland. Look at that glacier right there. You see those little figures right there? Amy's with those climbers. They are about to go down inside that sinkhole. Amy, what's going on?
Yeah, that's right. You know what, George and everybody, we are here at ground zero. These are the front lines of climate change. Scientists use glaciers just like this one to monitor global warming, and our elite ice climbers behind me are ready to go into this massive ice tunnel. In fact, we're going to have drones following them every step of the way. So let's get up in the air, drones, and follow our ice climbers as they head into the abyss live from the land of fire and ice.
Oh my gosh!
We brought you fire.
We're just getting inside that crater.
The first ever live drone camera over an active volcano. Now we're bringing you ice. The immense, forbidding ice sheets of Iceland, home to a hidden world of crystal clear ice caves, glistening glaciers, and dangerous crevasses constantly changing. Gearing up for this treacherous journey has been a multi-day expedition.
This is perfectly safe.
Yeah.
He hesitated.
First, trying my hand on the ice. Then by car and foot, our team trekking nearly a mile through water, rocks, and ice, all in Arctic temperatures. The landscape, dazzling, dangerous, and disappearing fast. Losing an average of 11 billion tons of ice per year, this satellite picture taken in 1986, and this one 28 years later, Iceland is melting at a rate of a foot per day, and that water has to go somewhere.
When you're talking about changing sea level, you're talking about impacting a tremendous population around the world.
Including Miami's coastline, those waters already climbing an inch a year. And take a look at this. If sea levels keep rising, in 2 centuries, scientists warn that city could be completely underwater. Charleston too, even New York. So this morning, we're plunging far below the surface of the ice in a never-before-attempted live event, going deep into this glacier, Vatna, the front lines of climate change, taking you inside a glacial sinkhole, a massive drain pipe for melting ice that can be thousands of feet deep. For a first-hand look at this vanishing, perilous landscape, a hidden world inside the ice.
And joining me now is Dan Morgan. He is a glacier expert from Vanderbilt University. He's going to be walking us through what our ice climbers see as they go into that massive ice tunnel. So let's send them on their way, all right? Hey guys, go for it. Go ahead and start ice climbing. All right, so the guys are just now starting their descent right now. Tell me, Dan, what researchers hope to find when they get to the bottom and they see what's at the bottom of sinkholes just like this one.
Yeah, so these kind of vertical caves give us a real cross-section into the glacier, so you can tell how the glacier's been flowing, how compressed the ice is, what it's carrying with it, and you can't do that unless you get in there and get to see it yourself.
And as they start to go down there, we see these bands of dark. What is that we're looking at in the ice?
So that's the debris that the glacier's carrying with it. Some of it is actually ash from the volcanoes that erupt and deposit ash on top of the glacier, and some of it's probably debris from the base of the glacier that is also scraping up and bringing along with it too.
How significant is the melting that we're seeing here in terms of contributions to the rising sea levels we see across the Atlantic and other oceans?
Yeah, I mean, what's melting here gets into the ocean and contributes to sea level rise that we see in the east coast of the U.S. right now.
How fast is this glacier, the Vatna Glacier, melting?
Yeah, so right now it's actually retreating at about 300 feet every year. So it's going almost a foot a day that it's retreating back, but it's also thinning and lowering at about 100 feet a year right now.
All right,
so it's retreating and thinning.
And as we watch our climbers descend into this tunnel, this ice cave, how and why do these form in the first place?
Yeah, these are meltwater ponds that form on top of the glacier from warm days and actually cloudy days sometimes too. And those ponds suddenly drain through cracks in the glacier and expose these amazing vertical tunnels.
All right, we also want to say, as we're watching these incredible climbers go down into this hole, how do they measure, you mentioned numbers, you know, how fast these glaciers are melting. How do they measure that?
Yeah. Here in Iceland, actually, there's a long tradition of Icelandic people actually monitoring and marking where the glacier used to be. For actually hundreds of years, they've been doing that and doing it. Now we can do some of it with satellite technology, and we're doing it with drones now.
Right, and how do scientists use these drones for their research? What do these drones show them that we couldn't have otherwise seen?
Right, drones are really sort of cutting-edge technology for Earth scientists. They give us access to places that we couldn't otherwise get to. We're able to monitor things really closely on a daily basis that way. And what's amazing is they give us real-time and 3D information about how Earth's surface is changing.
And do you know what the bottom looks like as we're watching this incredible video of our climbers? I mean, this is really remarkable watching them scale this massive ice wall. It takes tremendous skill, tremendous expert, but it's all to get to the bottom. What do you expect they'll see when they get down there, and what we'll all see?
This is one of the most interesting and least known parts of glacier research, which is how does water from the surface get to the base and help lubricate the base to make the glacier flow faster?
So we're actually looking at melting ice, literally.
Yeah. This is all melted ice that drained out through this cavern system, got to the base of the glacier, and then probably helped it flow faster and thin and end up in the sea.
Incredible. And George, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Dan, I mean, it's, first of all, it's such a stunning sight. But have we ever seen melting like this before in other periods of history, or is this all brand new?
Have we ever seen, George wants to know, periods of melting like this in history, or is this the first of its kind that we know of?
Yeah, so throughout geologic time, and certainly for the last 2 million years, we've gone through ice ages and warm periods, and glaciers come and go over time. What we're seeing right now, though, is a real rapid increase in the rate of thinning and melting that we're seeing, and that's related to human-induced climate change.
All right, now, Robin, you have a question?
I do, Amy. Could you please ask Dan, how does this compare what we're seeing here, other places in the world, Greenland, other places that have glaciers?
Dan, Robin wants to know how what we're seeing here, this melting, how does it compare to other glaciers around the world, say in Greenland or in other areas? I know you've studied Antarctica as well.
Yeah, so this is something that we're seeing, particularly in Greenland. We're now seeing lots of melting on the surface and melting at the base of Greenland as well. There was just a few papers that came out saying that basically a new floodgate has been released in Greenland and we're melting a lot more there. Parts of Antarctica are definitely increasing their rates of thinning and melting as well, too. So this is something we're seeing globally. It's not just something that we're seeing in little pockets here and there. All over the world, we're seeing glaciers retreat at pretty alarming rates.
Are they melting at the basic same rate?
Yeah, the rates are, it depends a lot on how fast the glacier's flowing, but in certain places like here, this is pretty comparable. It can be a little slower in Antarctica because it's a little bit colder.
All right, this is just remarkable. As we're looking at this, it looks like the climbers have made it to the bottom of this massive ice tunnel, and I've got my radio here, so let's see what they're seeing or hear what it was like for them. Good morning, guys, I want to check in with you. This is Amy again. You made it to the bottom?
That's right. Standing at the bottom. This is awesome.
He says it's awesome. So tell me what you're seeing.
He's seeing a drone.
Hey, climbers, tell me what you're seeing. Describe what you're looking at. So we got that.
Everything is awesome.
He went ahead with
Surrounded by crystal clear black and blue ice.
Black and blue ice.
And I can tell you one thing. I have a challenging climb in front of me.
Yes, he does. A challenging climb ahead.
He says it's awesome. Everything is awesome. And yes, that's right. So it was very quick, as we noticed, for those climbers to come down the descent. Now getting back up is going to take a lot longer. So it's quite a tremendous effort for them to get back up, and so we're going to let them head back up, and let's send one of our drones over to an active ice melt that is actually happening right now. And Dan, while we send that drone over in that direction, you have some rare fossils to show us, and they tell us something about climate change. Yes, I know we've got these heavy gloves on, so we've got to dig into the bag here, but we can learn a lot from what's around us.
Yeah, what's amazing about these is these are gastropod shell fossils that were collected from debris that the glacier carved up and deposited.
Wow.
And what's amazing about these are about 5,000 to 7,000 years old, but they're fossils that only live in warm salt water. So we know that 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, there was no ice here, the ocean was much warmer, and these warm gastropods actually lived in a shallow sea right here.
Gastropods,
Yeah.
right,
And
that's
then
incredible.
Since then, the glaciers re-advanced and sort of gotten bigger actually, and scraped them back up and deposited them for us to find.
All right, and as we send our drone over there to the massive melting over at this glacier, tell us where this water is all headed, where this melting ice is going. It has to go somewhere, as you said.
Yeah, and we can actually see it forming down into the river down here, and it will end up just at the coast, just a few miles down there, and it will end up all in the ocean and contribute to sea level rise there.
Yeah, and when you talk about contribute to sea level rise, how much, at what rate is it contributing to the rising seawaters that are impacting the very shores of the United States?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we're seeing sort of in places like Miami might be an inch of sea level rise every year over there. What's coming out of this glacier right here, the way to sort of visualize it is imagine a tanker for a cargo ship. 2,000 of those are coming out every hour from this glacier that is melting out, and that's what's been going on here. So there's a lot of meltwater coming out from this ice cap.
And the big question is, how do we stop it?
Yeah, that's the big question. What do we do to deal and mitigate and adapt and be resilient to climate change?
And glacier scientists such as yourself, is this the question that you're trying to tackle to figure out how to help the world protect itself from itself?
Yeah, so I'm really interested in how did glaciers change size over time? How quickly do they retreat? So I study how glaciers have changed in the past to give us a sense of, is it going to go back slowly? Is it going to go back quickly? Is it going to take a giant step all at once? How will that happen?
Dan Morgan, we're glad you're by our side throughout this process. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And as we mentioned, those climbers slowly making their way back up to the top of that massive ice tunnel. We will check back in with them in just a bit.